Hi class, we're the Bagamoyo team. We're going to be reporting live today on Bagamoyo and the Cal ruins. So, we hope you enjoy the video. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jake Turner.
And I'm Christy Kranz.
And I'm Kristen Carpentier.
And we're going to be talking about all things Bagamoyo. We hope you enjoy the video.
Hi, I'm Kristen, and I will be going over the history, economy, education, culture, and government of Bagamoyo. So Bagamoyo is located in the Zanzibar Channel, about 45 miles northwest of Dar es Salaam. And the Kayole ruins are just south of Bagamoyo, and that's consists of 2 mosques and about 50 tombs, and they're basically remnants of ancient Muslim tribes or settlements from the 13th century. And so you can see this Muslim influence in Bagamoyo because the Muslim family settled there in the late 18th century. And by the first half of the 19th century, Bagamoyo became a trading port for ivory and slaves. And so Bagamoyo was actually the center of the East African slave trade. And this was a huge part of their historical context that we'll see today as well. The Arab slave traders used Bagamoyo as a final destination in the East African slave trade. And so Bagamoyo, translated from Swahili, actually means lay down your heart. And so since the last stop before going to, it's the final destination before the slaves were transported back to East Africa and Zanzibar. So by the mid-19th century, East Africa was divided between Germany and Great Britain, and Germany ruled Tanzania until the end of World War I. And actually at that time, under German rule, Bagamoyo was the capital of Tanzania. So at the end of World War I, Great Britain took over, and under Britain's rule, the capital moved from Bagamoyo to Dar es Salaam. So moving on to today, the culture of Bagamoyo is pretty diverse, being it's so close to Dar es Salaam, and there's a lot of different ethnic tribes in Bagamoyo, mainly being Swahili and people of Arab descent. The main economic activities include subsistence agriculture, fishing, mariculture, which is basically just farming of seaweed, trade and commerce, and tourism. So within the past decade, Bagamoyo has become a big tourist hub, and they've implemented a lot of beach hotels and things like that. A problem with that is still waste, visual impacts, and access to beach. As far as education goes in Tanzania as a whole, enrollment at the primary level has increased. So it's risen from 59% in 2001. It's moved to 84% in 2007, and today primary enrollment is at 94%. So despite all of these increases, it's different at a rural level. So in Bagamoyo, the numbers are still increasing at a primary level, but they're still lower. So with these increases, the government has still struggled to increase the amount of teachers, and secondary school has not gotten the attention that it needs. So specifically within Bagamoyo, the initiatives have been at a primary level, and so there's an elementary school, or a primary school called Karomo, they've really taken initiatives at this level. They revamped their infrastructure, they created a new modern computer room, increased textbooks, and basically revamped their school. So this year, performance improved by about 9%, and enrollment also increased. So there have been initiatives in Bagamoyo at the rural level. As far as government and politics go, Bagamoyo is defined by the Local Government Authorization Act, and so at a local level there is a village chairman who oversees, basically acts as a mayor, and there's an elected council, and they are designated different functions, tax collection, and other development activities as well. And this similar structure there's a similar structure at a district level as well. And that's all for history, economy, education, culture, and government in Bagamoyo. Now on to Chris.
Hi, my name is Chris, and I'll be talking to you about the socio-development of Bagamoyo. Bagamoyo's main significance is that it served as a trading port for hundreds of years, and thousands of slaves were traded through this port mainly in the early 1800s through the end of the 1800s. The Kayole ruins, located 3 miles east of Bagamoyo, houses evidence of early Muslim settlements used between the 13th and 16th centuries, giving credence to early involvement by outside forces in Tanzania. Both of these sites speak to the long-term presence and control of Tanzania by others. The trading port at Bagamoyo was mainly administered by Arab traders. setting up the subjugation of Africans by Arabs. Later, it would be Christian traders that exploited Africans and also set up missions that would usher in the colonial era. The socio-development impact of this site is largely symbolic in dealing with Tanzanian history. Africans were subjugated to the slave trade, and their labor was used to build developed nations' economies, such as Spain, Britain, and the United States, to name a few. This early aggression set the precedent for exploiting African labor and resources. By understanding their history, Tanzanians can better understand and appreciate the controlling nature of outsiders and begin to wrest the control of their country back into their own hands. Tanzania continues to suffer from the interventions of developed nations, many of whom were the early beneficiaries of slave labor, which originated at the port of Bagamoyo. Understanding the history of exploitation of Africans by imperialist nations can give Tanzanians the context for the current relationships they have with these countries, and better understand that in many ways their people and resources are still being subjugated. This will help Tanzanians to move forward towards more independent development. Let's take a look at a video on a proposed World Heritage Site in Bagamoyo.
Away from the restlessness of the urban world lies an old sanctuary, a place where the blending of culture between local natives, explorers from the West, and the caravan Arabs for centuries gave birth to a World Heritage Site. I am going to let you peep through the window into the history that defines Africa and let you trace the footprints of great explorers. Located just 70 kilometers from where the big metallic birds land, is this historic town that is crowned as the oldest town in Tanzania. A coastal town, so you get to catch a breeze and become one of the big extended family in this coastal town, a home to all mankind. It's our tradition to take our newfound friends to see our humble Swahili town. Amidst the new Bagamoyo is the Caravanserai, the birthplace of the name Bagamoyo, that means rest your heart. This storied building housed caravan traders and slaves who stopped by to wait for calm waves to enable them cross the Indian Ocean to Zanzibar.
Bagamoyo means lay down any burden of your heart, always hope. This is because of the long journey that the slave used to travel from the interior to the coast.
It is evident with the collection of original coins from as early as 1888, the silver rings, the old banking system, and certificates of freedom given to freed slaves, signifying the end of slavery.
And now Jake will tell us a little bit more about the challenges and opportunities Bagamoyo presents in the social development of Tanzania.
Hi there, class. My name is Jake Turner. I'm going to be talking today a little bit about the challenges and opportunities that Bagamoyo is presented with within regards to social development within the context of Tanzania. We'll go ahead and start out with the challenges. And we'll focus first on industry, starting with tourism. There's a lot of beaches and hotels in the area, but they're presented with the challenges of waste, both liquid and solid. And there's also a lot of visible trash, and that's a big concern for both the citizens of Bagamoyo as well as the tourists that come. So that's one of the challenges that they face. Another is agricultural development. There's no major cash crops currently right now within Bagamoyo, and they're looking into different opportunities for establishing some, such as sugarcane, for example. They're looking to build a facility for bioenergy in Bagamoyo for sugarcane, and that could help out the industry within that city as well as the rest of Tanzania. Fisheries and mariculture, basically, there are both small and larger outfits of fisheries in the area. In mariculture, they're harvesting crawfish right now. Those are a couple of the things that are going on with that sector. Another challenge is deforestation. Currently, they have operations set up to produce charcoal, and those are sold to a lot of the Arab countries, mainly Zanzibar. Another big challenge currently is cultural challenges. Changes in youth delinquency, alcoholism, and drug trafficking are perceived to be increasing over time, especially within the last few years. Poverty issues exacerbated by the before mentioned. In addition to that, social cohesion is not very strong. With the industry of tourism, you have a lot of separation in class, and poverty levels are exacerbated by the clash in tourists that come to visit along with the residents that live there. Another challenge that they face is social services. Health and education services currently are poor or inadequate, and HIV is currently on the rise. A lot of unplanned urban settlements or abandoned cities or smaller settlements, those are also an issue for the city and for the government. And mainly compliance of laws that would help alleviate some of those concerns. Those aren't followed well. The policies and laws that are set in place to protect people and the environment, those aren't enforced. So definitely a lot of big challenges to overcome for the leaders and for the government within Bagamoyo and for the rest of Tanzania. So definitely a lot of opportunities in Bagamoyo and in the rest of Tanzania as it relates back to that. Definitely some things for the leaders of both civil planning and also government for them to face those challenges and come up with solutions. So on to the opportunities on what they could do to move towards a better future. Again, that sugarcane bioenergy facility in Bagamoyo, that would create jobs, that would create clean energy and maybe a more sustained commerce or ground-up industry. They could utilize or take advantage of the proximity to the city, Dar es Salaam, to their advantage. For example, if they funded an all-weather road that allowed for commerce to go back and forth, that might help out their city a lot. There's abundant land and water from rivers and for tourist facilities that are important assets and that could kickstart the development in Bagamoyo. Well, thank you. That was a little bit of reporting on the current challenges that Bagamoyo is facing and how it relates back to Tanzania.
We hope you enjoyed your time with us, learning about Bagamoyo. I'm Chris.
I'm Kristen.
And I'm Jake,
We'll see you soon.
signing off. You stay classy.